Hi, guys. I'm Phil Town from Real One Investing. Today, I want to talk to you about Biden's recent amazing cancellation of student debt. So on August 24th, President Biden made a really long-awaited announcement for a lot of people, and that is he decided he would be able, on executive orders, to cancel $10,000 of student debt. And if you're on a Pell Grant, canceling $20,000 of debt. It's a huge windfall for millions and millions of students. So let's talk a little bit about what you should do with it if you're one of the lucky ones that's in that position. By the way, the first thing you should realize is that may not stick. It's not 100% that he can just do it with a signature of his pen. So it may get landing in Congress, and then you know what happens from there. So, which is nothing. So here's, if we're lucky and you've got a student loan and you're in that category of that's getting canceled, then great. Here's what I would recommend that you do with the money. The first thing is you've got to be sure that you're not paying a lot of money out on debt you owe to credit cards. If you've got credit card debt, and especially if you've missed a payment, you're paying out 18 or higher percent per year. Now think about it. If you can invest money and make 18% a year, you're in, really high cotton, man. That's like you are doing really well compared to all the investors that are out there. So if I can make 18% a year, I feel like I'm doing very, very well. Our minimum acceptable rate of return is about 15% a year. So gosh, if all I have to do is pay off a credit card to make 18% a year, right? You understand? I'm not paying out 18, therefore I'm saving 18% a year. I would do that. As much as I love the idea when you're starting out to use as much leverage as possible, you don't want to use leverage that's running at a much higher rate than you could conceive, than you could reasonably expect to get as a good investor. 18% is way too high. Now, if you've got a credit card down at 5 or 0 for a couple of years, or if you can shift a credit card from 18% to a new one that's paying 0 for a couple of years, then I would get aggressive with this. I mean, you're young, you got your whole life ahead of you. Now's the time to roll the dice a little bit when you don't have a lot of money. So I would not pay off debt that's rolling along at 2%, 0%, 5%, because if you do investing properly, you should be able to make 15% or more per year. So think about it. You're borrowing some money, you're paying them 3%, you're making 15, you're netting 12. So that's really, really good. Now, I would also be really sure to take the money that I was going to have to pay to the federal government, right? That $10,000, and I would pay that into a Roth IRA, right? Get yourself some kind of job so you can actually have some income, and then put the money in a Roth, not a regular IRA. You're already in a student position or just coming out of grad school or working off the debt and you're young, hopefully, and you shouldn't probably be opening an IRA. You should be opening a Roth IRA, paying taxes on the money before it goes in there, and then from that point on, that money grows absolutely tax-free. Oh yeah, and you need an emergency money? You can take the money out of the Roth anytime you want. The money you put in, it's yours. So you have much, much more latitude with a Roth IRA than you do a regular one. And while as long as that sort of, I think they made a mistake there that gave us that, but as long as it's open, use every penny you can in there. All right, so if you've got money that you're saving from not paying your debt, and the debt is, that money is then going into a Roth IRA, what should you do with it inside the Roth? Well, a lot of people recommend that you have 3 months or 6 months of available cash in order to cover, unforeseen contingencies. I don't think you can afford to do that. I think especially if you're really running tight, I think you've got to be able to put the money into a liquid account. That means your brokerage account where you're going to invest it. And if you need some money, worst case, you sell something or you take the cash out of that brokerage account and you pay for this emergency problem. But I don't think you just have cash sitting over there. Particularly right now, I think there's an opportunity coming in the market where you can make the beginnings of generational wealth. Now, I know there's a lot of hype out there on making billions of dollars, and we see people make millions doing wild investing risks and in Reddit groups. I mean, we just don't invest like that at Rule 1. So I'm going to tell you what I would do. What I essentially recommend is that at this point in time, you look for companies that you can trade. That means you're going to use options to get leverage, and you're going to do it with an intelligent view of the market. So I've included an Investing for Beginners guide that'll get you started. But what I would do is, as quickly as possible, come up to speed on trading options the safest way possible. If you're good at it, if you understand what you're doing, and there's no reason you shouldn't be very good at this, you can do this on a few minutes a week. It doesn't take a lot of time, and you can knock out returns 15, 20, 25, 30% are relatively common. I know that sounds really high, but for people that don't have a lot of cash, they're not institutional investors, you don't have a lot of money to move around, absolutely those returns are possible. So think about this. If you can make 25% a year, you're doubling your money every 3 years. So that's pretty darn good use of that kind of free thing from Joe Biden. That's what I would do. So start with the guide for investors, beginning investors, and use that as a starting point, and then gradually move yourself up into more and more trading until you build up at least $100,000. When you build up $100,000, then start moving money into long-term investing. That's what I do. And I think you're going to be kind of amazed at how quickly and how big the money can grow. You just get going. And by the way, if we get a market crash, then that investing guide that I'm putting out there for you guys is a fantastic way to put it all in on some great companies and just forget about trading. You can just put it all in, but not now, not yet. We're not there yet. So you guys, if you enjoyed this video and you think it was valuable for teaching you more about what to do with your money now that Biden has canceled your debt, hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and if you want more investing content, just subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click on the screen for a free gift, and thanks again for watching.